I can honestly say I wasn't looking to buy one of these. So you may have seen my fairly recent video on the Premier Signia Snare drum, which I have, the 14 by 5.5 drum, which I kind of waited, I know, sort of 25, 27 years to get hold of, but I was finally lucky enough recently to get one, and that was kind of I suppose a bucket list drum for me. Not really for any particular reason other than it was just something that I sort of lusted after when I was a lot younger, when they came out and I first saw them, and I just thought that would be, really cool. And I think it's one of those things you sort of subconsciously obtain a connection with, and I was lucky enough to get one. As I said, I really love that drum. I'll never part with it. And as I sit here, it's kind of 3 feet just behind the camera. But this drum, which is also, as you'll have seen, a Premier Signia drum. I can honestly say I wasn't looking to buy one of these, and I actually only first really came across one probably about 6 or 7 weeks ago, from doing this video now. But I went down to Rubik's Drums in West London, and while I was there, I had a look around everything that Bent has got, and he had one of these sat on the floor, and I was like, oh, never seen one before, or at least I can't remember seeing one anyway. It's quite possible that I did see one 20 odd years ago, maybe at a trade show. I can't say for sure that I didn't, but certainly it hasn't stuck in my memory as something that I had come across before. But these drums were part of the 75th anniversary of Premier, and as far as I'm aware, they were only available with the kits. They did I think it was a 6-piece kit, so it would be, I think it was 10, 12, 14, 16, 22, and then the 14 by 5.5 inch snare, all in this finish, all with this badge, and all with wood hoops as well. So someone contacted me actually in the last few days. I put a photo of this up on Instagram, and someone contacted me and said that they just got a kit of this. So wow, I mean that must be really cool to play, because as I said, I don't recall ever seeing one of these. I've certainly never played one of these, and same goes for the kit really. But as I said, I wasn't really looking for one of these. It came up, and I couldn't really sort of say no to myself. I mean, I think I was lucky in that I was expecting it to go for slightly more than I was expecting. I kind of put in my maximum bid, and I was lucky enough it came in slightly under that. So I was expecting it to maybe hit 400 quid. It didn't. Actually, it didn't even hit 350. It was just slightly under that. And I'm not going to do it at too many. I think maybe I'll possibly do it at 1 tensioning, maybe 2. I don't really want to crank it down, because obviously the wood hoops, they'll get mashed up. And I don't want that. But I mean, the drum itself, 14 by 5.5. It's a maple shell, maple hoops. It's actually in really good condition. The only thing which was listed in the listing is that it's got some slight indentations from where some idiots basically put the hoop on and not put it back in the same place. I don't really understand why someone would do that, but there you go. It's all the fittings are gold. It's got Premier's as of the time. Throw off and butt plate there. It's got original Premier wires on it. It's actually still got the Everplay. I mean, it's a Remo head, but it's basically it's never play. I'm assuming DP hazy means double ply, but 4mm shell, thick shell. Is it 4-ply shell? 4-ply shell. I seem to remember. So it's quite thin. And it's got a sort of it's got a countercut. I think it may be 45 you know, all in all, I mean, it's a lovely drum. It's in lovely condition. It sounds nice. I don't really have. I mean, I've got a Craviotto in a very similar spec. Obviously, the Craviotto is a solid shell. This is a ply shell. But I mean, in many ways, it actually shares the same characteristics physically as the Craviotto drum. Got wood hoops, the same sort of design. You know, the maple shelves, the same size. So you know, it's. But this is a piece of Premier history, and Premier was my first ever kit. In fact, Premier was my first 3 kits, 2 of which I still have, and I've talked about before. I think Premier is Premier is something that I definitely still have an affinity for. I think with the XPK, which is my first proper kit, and then the Janista, which I got after that. And I think I would love to try some of the later drums just before they packed up as well. I think they would be pretty cool as well, but that's a money and space thing, and I don't have an abundance of either at the moment. But certainly looking backwards towards the older Premier stuff like this, and as I said, the regular Signia, these are great drums, and I think they represent. Certainly for the time, I think they were very highly regarded at the time. But I think the thing is they're still very highly regarded now, and they are great drums. And the funny thing is if you look on eBay, certainly in the UK, if you look on eBay, I won't say that I sit and look at every single brand to get a thorough picture of this, but certainly one thing that I have noticed between second-hand Janistas and Signias is that they can vary hugely in price. Some people are, in fact, actually, there's one Janista kit on eBay that has been there for a phenomenal amount of time, and I can only think it's because it's basically been refinished. Looks a little bit tacky, I think, visually, and then you have a better look at it and realise actually it's more tacky than it looks already, simply because some of the finish has come off, and some of you possibly will know the kit that I'm talking about. But there you go. You've got sort of, you know, reasonably priced kits, and in fact actually snare drums as well. And then you've got completely over the top, in my opinion, overpriced kits. I think the thing is, certainly for Signia kits, a cherrywood kit went recently on eBay, and it was a double bass kit, so 222s, and I think it was something like 13, 16, 18-inch toms as well, and it went for about 750 quid. I mean, it was ex-hire stock. And I think it was a little bit more rough around the edges. But the thing is I mean, some people want to charge £300 or £400 just for a Signia bass drum. You know, you get the idea. But you know, it's funny. As I said, just with the Signias and the Janistas, there seems to be such wide price ranging on those particular drums against really what I can see on other brands. It's a funny one, I don't know, but anyway, look, this is what it looks like. This is what it sounds like in, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 tensionings. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.